Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to practice solving for x-intercepts. So I want you guys to copy down these directions. Solve 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0 by factoring. Confirm your answer with a calculator. So one thing I have to remind you guys is this is a quadratic equation, right? Because it has power of 2. You guys agree? Whenever you're solving anything that is greater than, the exponent's greater than 1, remember you want everything on one side and you guys want 0 on the other side. Do you guys remember that? Okay. So to factor this, okay, I don't care what method you guys use, just be able to factor, to be honest. But what was the first step we would do to figure out what our magic numbers are in this case? You guys remember? Would I put the -2 on top? Or is there something I should do first? Yes, say it again. A times C. Do you guys remember whenever it was greater than 1, you had to take this and multiply it by the last term? Okay. So this, I'm going to multiply this times this. Okay. And then I'm pretty sure almost all of us do something like this. That look familiar? Okay. So I like to do this. This is the times number. This is the addition number. Okay. So 2 times -2 gives me -4. And then I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to give me -4, but when I add them, I get -3. What would that be? -4 and 1. Now, what that means is if I take -4x and I add it to 1x, I get -3x. So do you guys remember you guys could do something where you guys expand this and then make it 4 terms and then factor by grouping? Do you guys remember that? So I'm going to show you guys that, and then I'm going to show you guys a shortcut. You guys cool with that? Do you guys like shortcuts? Cool. Because on the AP test, it's a timed. Yes. So the faster you can factor, the faster you can get through this would be like an easy problem, right? Hopefully. All right, so this is going to become 2x squared minus 4x plus x minus 2 is equal to 0. Show me with some nods you guys are comfortable where that came from. Okay, it come from there. All right, so do you guys remember to factor by grouping? I have 4 terms, right? I can split the terms right down the middle, 2 and 2. And then do you guys remember what we would look for? Very good, GCF. What is the GCF of these first 2 terms? 2x, so I'm going to put it on the outside. So I'll have 2x times what? X minus 2. And then I want to copy and paste the parentheses and put it right here. And then I need to think of a number that I can put right here. So that way when I multiply it on the inside, I get the same parentheses. I got the same thing right here, but I already have it. So what's the only number I can put right here so it doesn't change? 1. Positive or negative? Positive, good. You guys are too smart. Okay. So my matching parentheses becomes one of my factors. So this becomes x minus 2. And then if you guys remember the stuff that's on the outside, so we factor out a 2x and we factor out a 1, that becomes the other parentheses. So 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, I'm gonna draw little arrows so you guys know that it goes there. All right, now we try to figure out what makes the inside of each one 0. Do I need to show you guys that step? Are you guys cool with that? X is equal to 2. If I subtract 1 divided by 2, x is equal to -1/2. Okay, so x is equal to 2, or x is equal to -1/2. Are we okay over there? You guys have questions? I try really hard when I'm recording not to say names. So if I point at you guys, it's because this is going to go on YouTube, right? Like and subscribe. I don't want to have your guys' names on the internet. That's fair, right? We don't want any strangers figuring out who you guys are. Okay, now here's the shortcut. And I got in trouble for teaching this in math 2. But you guys aren't going to tell me, right? If this was just x squared, and these were the correct numbers, do you guys agree you would just say x minus 4 times x plus 1 and be done? Okay, but it's not x squared, it's 2x squared. So this is a shortcut. I'm going to throw a 2x on both sides of my little x. And then I'm going to ask myself, do either side of this x have a GCF? Which side? The left. What could I divide out of both these numbers? A 2. So if I divided a 2 out of both those numbers, 2x divided by 2 is just x. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. And then is there a GCF here besides 1? No, right? So then I would just leave it alone. Now compare this to that. And what do you guys notice? It's the same thing. That works every time. The only big reason why I don't like it to teach this to like math 2 kids anymore is because I really don't know why it works. It does work though. So it's like when the student like me, when I was in school, was like, why does that work? And the teacher's like, I don't know. That would really bother me. And I still don't understand why it works. It just works. Isn't that cool? So I don't care if you guys factor like this. I don't care if you guys factor like this. Okay? And if you guys want me to show you guys that as the year goes on, more and more and more, I can. Because the AP exam, something like this would probably be like a multiple choice question. Or if you just go from here to it factored, they won't question you. They just know you guys know how to factor. Does that make sense? They're not testing your factoring skills. They're testing your pre-calculus skills. Okay? And then you get the same answers either way. All right. Questions. All right. And I'm recording this so you guys can see it again if you guys need to. But the question also said to confirm your answer with a graphing calculator. So this is what we're going to do. I want you guys to type in the original equation into y1. So 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. And I have to say this just in case anybody does this by accident. Is this subtraction? What is that? Good. Same thing, this is not negative, this is subtraction. So make sure you guys don't do one when you mean the other. Okay. Now, do you guys agree that this is supposed to equal 0, right? So on y2, I'm going to type just what happened. No, it just hates me. There we go. I'm going to type just 0. And what color is this supposed to be? Red. My parabola is supposed to be blue. You can change these colors too. I want you guys not to though, because if I ask you guys look at the green graph and you guys change it to pink, you're gonna be lost. So let's just leave them the same. Go ahead, hit graph. Now, when something equals 0 for a quadratic, remember that means you're looking for what? What's that called? Good. You're looking for the x-intercepts, right? So I made you guys' lives easier by just making this the other side of the equation. This is equal to 0. So what I'm really looking for is where these two things cross, okay? So your calculator has a feature that helps you find where things cross. You're going to do second and then trace. And you guys see how there's this option that says intersection, okay? All you have to do is hit enter. Now your calculator, this is why I love these ones compared to remember those janky black ones you guys were using last year in my class? Okay. This one's cool because it's color coded. So the first curve is the blue curve. So I want to get close to that point right there. So I'm going to move my cursor close to where it crosses the first time. If it lets me do it. There we go. It's like lagging. Okay. And then I'm going to hit enter. I didn't do it. There we go. Enter. And then the red curve is the second curve. So hit enter again. And then it's going to say guess. That means, are you sure that's what you want? yes, and hit enter, and then look what it tells me. Was that one of our answers, -1/2? Yeah, so that's correct. And then you could do the same thing for the second point. So do second trace, oh my goodness, what's happening? Second trace intersection, and then just move your cursor closer to the right intercept, and then just hit enter, enter, enter. And it tells us 2. Does anybody need help doing that? Questions? Okay. Let's move on. Let's solve by square roots. Okay, so to undo the power of 2, square root both sides. So the square and the radical cancel, so you get 2x minus 1 is equal to what? What? Yes, plus or minus 3. Is that what you said? Okay, plus or minus 3. The only time you have to worry about plus or minus is when you're solving, because if I take the square root of 9, do you guys agree that it's either positive or -3? Okay, so then I have this equation is equal to 2 different numbers, so I need to split it into 2 equations. So that means either 2x minus 1 equals 3, or 2x minus 1 is equal to -3. Solve both cases. So if I add 1 to both sides, I get 2x is equal to 4. And if I divide both sides by 2, I get x is equal to 2. Now you guys are pre-calculus, especially AP. Are you guys okay if I don't show that step when I'm doing my work? Do I have to write +1, +1? Do I have to write divide by 2, divide by 2? You guys are comfortable with that by now, right? Okay. When I took Algebra 2 in high school, which was like Math 3, my teacher, first week of school, stopped doing that. And we had to just kind of know what's going on. All right, add 1 to both sides. So you get 2x is equal to -2. Divide both sides by 2, and we get x is equal to -1. So these are my 2 solutions. Now, similarly, just like the last problem, I'm not going to do it, but if I put this into y1 and I put the 9 into y2, I could graph those functions and find where they cross, and I could confirm my answer. Okay? Questions? Okay. All right, here comes what I was talking about. Completing the square. To solve an equation x squared plus bx is equal to c by completing the square, we're going to add b divided by 2 squared to both sides and then factor, okay? This is going to make zero sense to you guys right now. I'm going to explain to you guys what to do, okay? Now, for these notes, because it's AP and it's technically review, I usually am doing, like, you guys notice I'm doing this like one example per thing. For this, I want to do at least 2 because I want to make sure you guys understand what's going on, okay? So let's do an easy one. We're going to solve x squared minus 4x minus 10 equals 0 by completing the square. Okay. Now, if this was a normal quadratic question that you guys are used to solving, okay, let's say that you wanted to factor this. Can you guys think of 2 numbers that multiply to give me 10, but when I add them, I get negative 4? And the answer is no, which means that either these solutions are imaginary or these solutions are irrational, which means that there's a square root in our answer somewhere, okay? So what I'm gonna do to complete the square, if I want to do quadratic formula, do you guys see how this is already equal to 0? I could just jump straight to what's A, what's B, what's C, and do the quadratic formula. However, for completing the square, what we're gonna do is I want the squared term and the x term on this side, and I want the constant term on the other side. So I'm gonna move the 10 to the other side first. So I'm going to get x squared minus 4x is equal to 10. My seniors, you guys actually might have been the last group that this got taught to. Because I know for sure the juniors that are in Math 3 right now, they didn't teach it last year in Math 2. They skipped it. All right, so here's what you guys do. Do you guys agree this is like a x squared and this is the b? The b is the number that you guys focus on, okay? Do you guys agree b is negative 4, okay? So this is how I show my kids to show their work. They say b is negative 4. Now, do you guys see on the box how it says b divided by 2? Whatever the b value is, you're always going to cut it in half. So not a trick question. What's negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 2, okay? Now, whatever that number is, you're going to square it. So if I take that number and square it, what is negative 2 times negative 2? What? Positive. Positive 4? Okay. It's giving me a chance to fix it. So positive 4, okay? Now, what you're going to do with that number is you're going to complete the square. So what that means is I'm going to take this number, and I want you guys to write it like this. X squared minus 4x plus something is equal to 10. That means that to complete this square, I'm going to take this number and fill in the blank with that number. So whatever your b over 2 squared is, it always goes in that blank. Now, we can't just do that, though, because we're breaking the laws of solving. Are you allowed to just throw 4 onto this side? What do you have to do? You have to also put it on the other side, right? Because now I'm changing the equation, so if I put a 4 here, I have to add a 4 over there, too. Okay? Everyone with me so far? Okay. Now here comes the cool part. We're completing the square. That means that this factors now. The number that we magically found, that means that this side will factor, okay? So what number times itself, what are 2 numbers that multiply to give me 4, but when I add them, I get negative 4? Negative 2 and negative 2. Now check this out. That number that you guys had to think about, it's right there. And And that works every time when you guys do this process. So if this is a positive 6, that means this becomes x plus 6 times x plus 6. This is a 10, that means this becomes an x plus 10 times x plus 10. Because it's negative 2, it's x minus 2 times x minus 2, which I could just write as x minus 2 squared. Okay? And it's equal to 10 plus 4 gives me 14. Does this look familiar, Math 2 kids? It does? Okay. Did you guys learn this? Who was your Math 2 teacher? Okay. All right. How do I undo power of 2? What? Square? Square root both sides. So I get x minus 2 is equal to, does this break down? No. Because 14 is also the same thing as 2 times 7, right? So I can't pull anything out. So I'm just going to leave it as square root of 14. But because I'm doing the square root, remember that means plus or minus. Okay? The last step is to add the 2 to both sides. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of 14. Cool. It's not hard, it's just a lot of steps. But once you understand the steps, it's not that bad. Remember how I told you guys we're skipping Unit 4? In that chapter, you guys would graph something called conic sections. You guys would graph circles. You guys would graph ellipses. You guys would graph parabolas again, but they're different. And those problems, you have to complete the square like every time. Sometimes you have to do it twice. Once for X and once for Y. Those problems suck. They're long. When I taught my college pre-cal class, they had to learn those for PC. All right, so let's do one more that's harder. So this time we're going to do 4x squared minus 20x plus 17 is equal to 0. What's different here than the last problem? The A value. So this is what you guys probably won't like. If there's an A value, you have to divide everything by the A value first. Okay? I shouldn't say that, actually. You're going to... Actually, no, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I'm going to divide everything by the A value first. So I'll divide everything by 4. So I'm going to get x squared minus 5x plus 17 over 4 is equal to 0. So if we're looking at the steps we did last time, can I start the process the way this is written? Why? Because it's 17 over 4, right? Where do I want this? On the other side. So I'm going to subtract the 17 over 4 to the other side. So I have x squared minus 5x is equal to negative 17 over 4. Okay. Everyone good so far? So now, what number is going to be my number I need to focus on? The negative 5, right? Because that's our b. So I'm going to say b, off to the side, I'm going to say b is equal to negative 5. If I cut that in half, this is where the problems really suck, because 2 doesn't go into 5. So now I have fractions. What did we do once we found b over 2? Square it. So b over 2 squared is equal to, but this isn't too bad. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. 2 times 2 gives me 4. What do I do with the 25 over 4? Add to both sides. So I'm going to have x squared minus 5x plus blank is equal to negative 17 over 4 plus blank. And that's where the 25 over 4 goes. All right. You guys with me so far? So now, deep breath. Now, the next step would be you guys would have to factor this. But if you guys were listening to what I said last time, it's already on the board. Which number do I pay attention to? The b over 2. And it's negative, right? If it was positive, I'd put a plus. But because it's negative, that means that this just factors to x minus 5 over 2 squared is equal to, so I'm going to highlight that. Now, I say but it's not really an Negative 17 plus 25, these have the same denominator, right? What's negative 17 plus 25? Negative 8? 8 over 4. What's 8 divided by 4? It's 2. That's nice. Okay. Now it's just like the previous example. Square root both sides. So x minus 5 over 2 is equal to plus or minus square root of 2. Last step is to add the fraction to both sides. So we have x is equal to 5 over 2 plus or minus the square root of 2. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Now, you guys will be happy to know that the only time you guys have to do this is in very special functions. Like, I shouldn't say functions because it's not a function. Like if you're ever solving a circle problem, you have to do completing the square. Unless a problem asks you guys to solve by completing the square, that's the only time you guys have to. Because if you guys don't like this method, you guys probably are gonna go to this method because this method works every time. Like, to be honest, I do math all the time, obviously, right? Because I'm a math teacher. If I were to solve a quadratic, I would go here. I wouldn't do completing the square. That wouldn't be my first go-to because of the fractions sometimes. So anytime you guys have a quadratic equation in the form of ax squared plus bxc is equal to 0, and you guys know a, b, and c, then the quadratic formula is this. And you guys are going to sing your little song. It's going to be great. All right, so we're just gonna do one like this because you guys have seen this plenty of times already. So solve 3x squared minus 6x is equal to 5. Okay, can I jump straight to the quadratic formula right now? Why? Because of the 5, right? What do I want on that side instead of a 5? 0. So to move the 5, do you guys agree I can subtract 5 from both sides? So I'm going to have 3x squared minus 6x minus 5 is equal to 0. So when we use the quadratic formula, we want to know what a, b, and c are. So what's a? 3. What's b? -6. And what's c? -5. So x is equal to opposite of b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Hey, what is the opposite of my b? So it's right now it's -6, right? What's the opposite of that? 6. So this is going to be 6 plus or minus the square root of. Whenever I plug stuff in, guys, please use parentheses. So if I plug in b, morning. All right, thank you. If I plug in b, I'm going to write parentheses -6 squared minus 4 times 3 times -5 all over 2 times 3. So let's see, 6 plus or minus the square root of -6 squared is 36. -4 times 3 is -12. -12 times -5 is positive 60. So this becomes 6 plus or minus the square root of 96 all over 6. Can I cancel the 6's? No. I tricked you. No. You can't cancel the 6's yet because that means that there's a 6 that comes out of this too. So you can only do that if you already factor this and you guys see that there's a common factor between all three things. Okay? Does 96 have a pretty square root? So what should I do? Factor tree. Hey, this is 2 times 48. This is 2 times 24. This is 2 times 12. 2 times 6. And then 2 times 3. So I have a pair here and a pair there. And I have 2 loners. You guys have had me before. You guys know my famous phrase. What do couples do? Go out. What do loners do? Stay in. Good. Mr. Nichols stole that from me. So I take this pair of 2's and take it out, right? Take this pair of 2's and take it out. What is 2 times 2? 4. These stay home. If I multiply those, what do I get? 6. Good. So this is going to be 6 plus or minus 4 square root of 6 all over 6. So this is why you couldn't cancel the 6's before, because what came outside? A 4. What do this 4 and both these 6's have in common as a factor? 2. So I could rewrite this as 2 plus or minus 2 square root of 6 all over 3. I'm going to rewrite that because it looks terrible. Three. Yeah. No testing you guys. Thanks. I got stressed out because of they're getting squished. Okay. Questions? All right, you guys ready to use your calculator? I'm going to teach you guys some things on your calculator right now. So we already kind of did this already, but I want you guys to practice it again. Don't worry about this yet. You guys will tape this in after so you guys can remember how to do it. But ignore this for now. let's do the problem first and then we'll tape it in. So we're going to solve x cubed minus x minus 1 is equal to 0 graphically. All right, so I showed you guys the intersection thing. There's also another way you guys can do this, and I want to teach you guys this right now. This is like the more annoying way to do it, but when we go to do like rational zeros and stuff like that later on, then we need to know how to do this. All right, so go ahead and type just this part into y1. Don't put equals 0, just the x cubed part. X cubed minus x minus 1. And of course, they logged me out. It hates me. So x cubed minus x minus 1. Now this is gonna be really helpful for me and save us time. If you figure it out and you guys see somebody at your table struggling, make sure you guys are all okay. It's because all of you guys in this class need to know how to do this. Okay, so I'm gonna hit graph. Now, if I count these tick marks, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So do you guys agree with me that this right here is 1 and this right there is 2? So whatever this 0 is, right, because this is the only 0, this is the only time it crosses the x-axis, it's somewhere between 1 and 2. Okay, so how do I find that? Well, I'm not going to do that. Your calculator has a 0 feature. So you're going to do second trace 0 and hit enter. Now this is the important part. Do you guys see how it says left bound and right bound? There's 2 ways you guys can do this. You guys can scroll and get close and then scroll and get close, or what did I tell you guys this number is in between? 1 and 2. Which one of those numbers is on the left, 1 or 2? 1. So I'm just going to tell my calculator the left bound is 1 and hit enter. And the right bound is 2 and hit enter. And then check it out. Do you guys see how your calculator formed these like boundaries? And do you guys see how the intersection is between those? That's going to make your life a lot easier. Okay, I didn't even know you guys could do that until I watched a YouTube video when I was like teaching calculus last year. I'd watch teachers teach, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know you could do that. It's so cool. So there you go. And then you're gonna hit enter. And there you go. There's our answer. X is equal to 1.3247. Hi.
4th period.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. That's how you do it. So check with your table. Everyone good? Okay. Now, this is very important. You guys listening? How many numbers are after the decimal here? 6. Okay. I'm pretty sure, I need to confirm because I'm a rookie teaching AP Precal, but I'm pretty sure it's the same rules as calculus. Calculus, the general rule is every decimal you guys round to 3 places. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to round every decimal to 3 places until I tell you guys otherwise. So if I ever ask you guys to approximate something, just 3 places, okay? So this would be 1.32 what? 5. Good. So X is approximately 1.325. Okay. All right. I'm going to be honest, I didn't read your book when I screenshot this. I don't know what the heck they're doing there, so I'm just going to ignore that. This is just a picture of what we just did. Cool. Last thing. So I'm almost at the time I told you guys, right? It said 9:15. But this one will be quick. Last example. We're gonna do one more problem using intersections. Okay, so I want us to solve the absolute value of 2x minus 1 is equal to 6 graphically. So I'm gonna be extra right now, and I'm gonna ask you guys, do you guys remember how to do this? You guys actually learned this in Math 1. It's really easy. Do you guys agree like the absolute value of a number is either the positive or negative value of that number? So for example, the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. The absolute value of positive 3 is also 3. So to solve this, that means the absolute value of this is either 6 or the absolute value of this is either to negative 6, because then if I do the absolute value of that, I'll get 6. Does that make sense? So what you would do is you would do something called, when I taught Math 1, I tell them to V it up, split it into two equations. So you would say 2x minus 1 is equal to 6, or 2x minus 1 is equal to negative 6. Does that look familiar? And then you would go from there. Okay? I just wanted to see if you guys remember that in case it comes up in this class. So that means that 2x is equal to 7, which means x is equal to 7 over 2. Or 2x is equal to negative 5, which means that x is equal to negative 5 halves. Cool? But let's actually do the problem. Because this is important for me to show you guys, because we're going to use this a lot. Your calculator can do absolute value. And it's kind of hidden in the features. So I need to show you guys how to get there. Okay, so I want you guys to go back to your calculator. And then in Y1, I'm recording this. So if you guys need to see it again, there's a math button. I want you guys to hit math. That's underneath the green alpha button. And then if you scroll over to the next menu, to it says number, the first option says ABS. That means absolute value, okay? So if I just click on that, and then you notice the calculator, I don't know why this is so slow. The calculator pulls up the absolute value bars, okay? So inside the absolute value bars, what do we want? 2x minus 1. Now, we want to know where it crosses which number? What's on the other side of the equation? 6. So that's Y1, and Y2, I'm going to type 6. Because then where these graphs cross, that's going to tell me the solution to this equation. Okay? You good? You guys good? Okay, so do you guys remember how to figure out where they cross? How do I get there? Second trace. How do you figure out where they cross? Intersect. Second trace intersect. And then there's two places where it crosses, right? So I want to move the cursor close to the first intersection. And then once you're close by it, all you do is just hit enter, enter, enter. Cool. And then you do the same thing for the second one. So you would do second trace intersect. And then just slide over to the second intersection and just hit enter, enter, enter. And there it is. Just kidding. No, it's not. Now it's there. All right, there we go. Now,